one part of my thesis research. Go ahead. So, in general, the pesticides are defined as the substance used for fighting the organisms which is undesirable. And agriculture activities where we are using the pesticide are more, among human activities more influencing the natural ecosystem. So, from many years ago, the pesticide and many chemical fertilizers have been used. Why? For increasing the agriculture production, by protecting the plant from disease, also for, protecting from the insect damage. But normally, the pesticides have been present as the benefit product in the agriculture area in general. The important weapon in the competition for food and shelter and to protect the people from disease and predator, for helping in the disease control by fighting the vector. The case, what I can give as example, the last time, normally the World Health Organization have proved to use the DDT in garden for fighting the malaria vector. But normally it was banned internationally. Can you go, please? But using pesticides as well, it was very benefit, but also they have some problems about environmental or public health by killing the no-target species when we use in agriculture, for example, but also pollution of natural ecosystem, and also they reduce the insect in environmental, which is the problem on biodiversity, but they are creating also the insect races more resistant to those pesticides. Not only for environmental, but for the people also, particularly for who are working with. For short and long term, there are effects on the people, particularly who are consuming the water or food in the region where we have applied the pesticide. Sorry, it is not visible, sorry. But in general, World Health Organization actually estimates around 1 to 5 million people who are poisoning with the pesticide. I think around 20,000 deaths each year. So, the pesticide in environmental, there are 3 ways. When we are applying them in agricultural areas, there are one part who are going in atmosphere by evaporation, but another part are reaching to groundwater, and another part stay on the crops or on soil, but the consequence or the destination, the last destination, is on the people who are on the species in environmental. We have found that there are many studies concern the organochlorine pesticide in soil and in groundwater, like in many countries, and there are some values which is really interesting. So our objectives, it was just to determine organochlorine pesticide in soil and groundwater and identifying the contamination sources, but also evaluating the health risks. This region is located in Morocco, in near of capital of Morocco, Rabat. but it's particularly dominated by agricultural activities. For having the good result, we make the sampling in period of summer and winter from 2012 to 2014. So this image showing you the region where we have taken the sample. They are in agriculture area, as you see. So the sample, what we have taken was the water and the soil in this region. So before analyzing, we processed the extraction and the purification, and we concentrated the solution in small volume. Why? For having this compound. So after that, we analyze with chromatograph, gas chromatograph. So the results have shown that there is not really high concentration in soil, because the values are under the limit value, which is 100 microgram by kilogram. And this figure shows you normally the sites where we have found the pesticides in this region. So, which is in the red, is normally the winter. So we found that in the winter we have found many sites which was contaminated with the pesticide. Here we try just to see how is transformed. Means this product DDT, how is it transformed? Normally, it's transformed in DDA, DDE, and DDD. So it depends normally of the condition of soil or in a region. So. But under Cephan, there are some values which is over the limit value, and we found many sites where there are contamination of this under Cephan. So we see that we found that there are transfer from soil to groundwater, because the soil is the source of this contamination in groundwater. The values which is the values which are detected is not very important. But when we compare with the other results from Morocco, they are crossed. But from the other countries, it is not really very important. So there is low contamination. Only under Cephan have some values which is important due to the metrin which is used in this country, and there is no health risks, which is important. So actually we try to make the study in Rwanda, in this region, Rugera Migozi, and it's just near of Mahanga district. Thank you very much.
Ishimwe Pius, the co-founder and general manager of UNILAK, a company specializing in the waste auditing consultancy and turning different public and private organizations to green organizations. So this piece presents a part of my MSc thesis on sustainability of privatization of solid waste management in developing countries, so using Kigali as a case study. So since a decade ago, different scholars have explored cities, especially focusing on their role played in economic growth. But recently, they have found that cities are also among key drivers of pollution and environmental degradation. So that's why this has really pushed the author to explore the mechanisms of solid waste management after privatization and to see what have been the environmental outcome. So globally, all cities, even countries, are recording a huge demographic changes. And we found that a big share of this population lives in cities. So this have, comparing the situation before World War II and the situation of the 2013 by the projection of UN, we found that the population have changed from 2.5 billion to 7 billion, and the big share of the population is increasingly changing. We now have 70% of the population living in cities. So the big challenges of these changes in population in urban areas is the high demand in public services, including the transport facilities, water and sanitation services, especially in terms of access, and other public services. As far as Kigali is concerned, we find that there is a tremendous change in population growth in cities, especially in Kigali, where we find that the population have changed from around 6,000 city dwellers in 2002 up to around 1 million only in 10 years. And this has resulted in huge demand in public services, including solid waste management, when you compare the situation between 2012 and 2015, we find that there is a change where the service, the generated waste has almost doubled from 180 tons to 300 tons per day. So the government, to respond to this change in high demand in solid waste management, has undergone different changes in governance structures and institutions, from the revisiting of existing institutions, such as the Constitution, which revised in 2003, and considering environmental and health safety as a right, but also a responsibility of any citizen. And this change in Constitution have been operationalized through organic law that have been validated in 2005. So a continuous change has undergone where even the government has decentralized the provision of these kind of services. And you know, everyone, that's now the service considers a sector as a minimum monopoly zone for the service provider. So now, with this involvement of private sector in solid waste management, now we have a clear governance structure which involve the private sector and the service provided directly to the household. But as you know, there may be some bias of the private sector. There is, again, the integration of RURA as independent regulator to regulate the behavior and the conduct of this private sector. So now our main concern should be, is really privatization contributing to environmental sustainability? I think this is the question that everyone can ask. So to explore the outcome of the environmental outcome of this private involvement, I have used 4 main indicators, which is sanitary conditions, the waste collection rate, then the waste source separation at the household level and the recycling rate, and finally the waste ending into the dump site. Comparing the situation before privatization and after privatization, you find that the sanitary condition has slightly improved because some storage facilities have been improved with the color coding, but we can say that there are mixed results where you have some companies recording weak physical capacities and again hampering the sanitary conditions of Kigali. So this is resulting in reaching affecting the water quality and air pollution, especially during the collection. Many workers involved in this sector, their lives are in danger. They are not protected. And if we compare the situation before, when we're using Nyanza dump site, and now the situation using Ndua dump site, the situation is the same. On the other hand, the collection rate has really recorded a huge change. As you find in 2015 now, more than 90% of the population have access to the service, compared to 44% before the privatization, 2012, sorry. So at this stage, you can say that something has improved. And among key drivers that have shaped this increase of collection rate is the inclusion of urban poor communities, where now the service is provided regardless their income level. Waste separation at the household level is among key challenges that the city is facing. As you can see, only 17% of the population has reported to sort waste at their household level. And now you can imagine what happens. This is resulting in more than 90% of collected waste is ending into the dump site. So if now this is the case, now you can imagine how waste management is a big hindrance for the environmental sustainability of the city. The Nduba dump site have been opened in 2012, and now is full, which means every 5 years, we need a new land for landfill. And now imagine this increase of waste, which increases economic and population growth. We will have everywhere a dump site in our Kigali city. So the key factors which is shaping the environmental outcome is mainly the lack of enforcement of waste separation at household level. And the second factor is the weak capacity in terms of human capacity and physical capacity of companies. So the companies, because they lack the capacities, they mix the waste during collection, and all waste ends into the dump site. Now, to conclude with, in general, we can say that privatization have contributed to the cleanliness of the city, and everyone can remark this. But when it comes to environmental sustainability, this is not a guarantee, because you have an increasing waste ending into the dump site. So there is an urgent need to institutionalize waste separation at the household level, but also to explore different policy and market incentives to promote recycling and hence reducing waste just end into the dump site. We have also to see how to explore other mechanisms and measures to protect the workers involved in this job. Otherwise, we are not ensuring the sustainability. Thank you.
It's now time for your input, your comments.
I'm Dr. Antoine, senior lecturer from University of Rwanda, College of Agriculture, Animal Sciences and Veterinary Medicine. I read the paper from LAMEC with interest, but I found some elements just missing in this paper. First of all, I would like to highlight the problem of the breakdown of the balance between natural resources and the population. Today, we are just observing, we are challenged. The agricultural activity is losing thousands of hectares today. Housing and for other economic activities agricultural lands per thousands of hectares are paved and concreted today. This is the first challenge, and we are somehow obliged to seek new agricultural lands. And we started to exploit marginal and fragile areas. So why I think the erosion and floods are somehow amplified. You should try to focus on this rupture between the natural resources, mainly agricultural lands, and the population. I'm not Malthusian, but I think this component is somehow lacking in your presentation. So, while seeking for new agricultural land, what do we observe today? First of all, we should know that the agriculture is the activity most user of the space, mainly agricultural lands. And today, we are trying, even if we are trying to intensify the agriculture, this activity is also the most polluting of the environment. And we cannot intensify. The intensification has some limits. For what I can call the diminishing marginal outputs, it has somehow limits. And today, the agriculture is facing that law of diminishing marginal outputs today. We cannot intensify to the infinity. It's not possible. You should also think about that. To end my comment, I would suggest maybe if you are working in that area, to know that there is a problem today between the population and the natural resources that we are exploiting today in Rwanda. Thank you.
Claude Ndaisaba from Faculty of Environment Studies, Emergency and Disaster Management at UNILAK. What should be done in order to safety health or to ensure the safety health of workers, and what should be done in order to raise the awareness of separation of the waste at the source? Thank you.
Hi, Deo from Ines Rengeri. I have two questions or two comments to two presenters, Francois Savien Shemimana and Hirwa Hubert. Yeah, for the first present, for Francois Savien, is talking about the effect of pesticide on groundwater. Day after, when you are looking to the effect of pesticide, we are seeing some result and so on. But what is in reality, when the water table is near the surface area, you can pesticides can affect the groundwater. It will be better to see what happens with surface water, because surface water is the most contaminated with those pollutants. And for Hirwa Maniragaba and Maniragaba Bias, is talking about the effect of decreasing the water level in Lake Burera due to hydropower. I don't know if exactly he has analyzed the or effect of that water level decreasing. As we are seeing that the hydropower which we find there, it is a small dam which is constructed on the river, and the water is conveying in the penstock. Even water is continuing to flow. Maybe you can see about what are the realistic problems which are upstream, especially due to agriculture activities upstream of the lake. And you can also the effect of sedimentation and the application of those fertilizers, because there will be effect of algal blooms with water, and there will be also organic matter within the lake. And when you are looking to the hydropower, I am not sure, I'm quite sure that this is the effect of reduction, because water is conveying, there is no pumping, there is no reduction, even there is not a big dam in order to reduce or to disturb the hydrological cycle. Thank you.
I also have a question toward Pius on the solid waste material. He talked about the lack of solid waste separation in the population. And my question is, did you think of also the issue of lack of tools to the population, like in a recommendation to distribute those waste bins that can facilitate separation of those solid waste? We have seen on the streets